Good. All right. So my name is Catherine Mize, and I'm going to go ahead and call to order the Orthotics and Prosthetics Advisory Board meeting. I guess we start immediately with the roll call. And before we jump completely into the roll call, I want to welcome a new member to our advisory board who is a CPO. Is that correct, Eric?
I'm a licensed orthotist prosthetist, state of Texas, and VOC certified.
There you go. Okay. So this is Mr. Eric Olson, and we'll let him speak a few words.
So, well, thank you for allowing me to serve on the board. I figure I've been doing this so long and I've reaped the rewards of licensure and all that stuff for so many years. It's time to serve and give back a little bit. So.
Be careful what you offer.
Yes, I know.
All right. So why don't we go ahead and do the roll call, Anna?
Yes, ma'am. Miguel Mojica. David Arends.
Here.
Randall Duncan.
Here.
Mark Kirchner.
Here.
Eric Olson.
Here.
And presiding officer, Catherine Mize.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Very good. All right, moving on, we've got approval of the minutes from the February 28th, 2022 meeting. Everyone should have received that in their packet ahead of time. And did everyone have a chance to review those minutes, or do we need to pause and allow people to do that? Thumbs up. You're good. All right.
Motion to accept.
And do we have a second to the motion to accept?
Second.
All right. Mark Kirchner made the motion and Randy Duncan seconded it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do we do a thumbs up?
Aye.
I can do a roll call vote, ma'am, for you.
I think we
David
got all.
Arends.
Okay.
Aye.
Randall Duncan.
Aye.
Mark Kirchner.
Aye.
Eric Olson.
Aye.
And presiding officer, Catherine Mize.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, that was simple. Moving on, the next section is public comment, of which we do not have any for this meeting. But for anybody that's watching from the outside public, I would like to point out that if you would like to participate in public comment, those need to be submitted before the meeting. And on our website, there's a place that you will find that you can submit comments for public comment. And then we would love to hear from you guys. So given that there are not any at this time, we will move straight into the staff reports. And for the staff reports, we will start with the licensing division, and our wonderful Mr. Leonard Rivas will take it from here.
All right. Good morning, advisory board members. Thank you for being here. My name is Leonard Rivas. I'm the licensing manager for the Orthotists and Prosthetists program. In front of you, you have a copy of the statistics for fiscal year 2022. I will not go through each one of the license types because there are so many, right? I'll just give you a brief overview of the total of new licenses issued to individuals and renewals, and then the new licenses issued for facilities and renewals. So for FY 2022, we issued 69 new licenses for individuals, and we did 205 renewals for individuals. For facilities, we had 22 new licenses we issued, and we renewed 92 facility renewals. Licensing, moving on, licensing and RPM attended the national conference in San Antonio on September 28th through the 30th. We had a booth and we had several individuals come to our booth asking licensing questions, asking status of applications. We had a great turnout at that convention, and Steve Eaker from RPM will probably give a little more information about that conference in San Antonio. That concludes my report. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions from our board members?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Leonard. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, moving on to the next report is from our customer service division. Myra? Is Ms. Rodriguez with us?
Ma'am, you're muted. Myra,
Oh.
you're muted.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Right, so let's go ahead and get started. Good morning, board members and TDLR staff. My name is Myra Rodriguez, and I am the new manager overseeing this program in customer service. Our statistics below for fiscal year 2022 show that contacts for your industry peaked in June with a total of 111 contacts. As you can see, the contacts continue to decrease in numbers as we finish up fiscal year 2022 and enter fiscal year 2023. The top reasons that our customers call in are about license status and renewal information. Other than these statistics, if you have any questions, I do my best to answer them. And if I am unable to answer them, I'll do my research and get back to you before the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Myra. I do have one quick question for you. Do you have any idea how many of the calls are related to questions about new applications for licensure and status inquiries?
I don't have that information. Let me see. We have for this fiscal year, license status is about eight calls for this fiscal year so far, which is just, the month of September.
Okay.
But new applications, I don't have that information right now.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Any other questions
welcome.
from the board? All right. Well, this meeting's going to be over in 15 minutes if we keep this up. Our next division to hear from is the Enforcement Division. Mr. Funderburg?
Yes, Chairwoman, Advisory Board members. My name is Chris Funderburg, and I'll present the enforcement report to you today. First, personnel updates. There have been 3 recent promotions within enforcement. I doubt you'd benefit much if I simply read this to you. So I'll just observe that, in my opinion, Robert, Jessica, and Jack earned their new positions by virtue of their diligence, intelligence, and experience, and that our division is a beneficiary of their success. The second section of our report is a review of statistics distilled from data generated during enforcement's case resolution process. You'll note that on page 4, we attempted to provide a broader perspective of our efforts by including statistics generated during the entirety of fiscal year 2021. Since this data was reviewed at the last board meeting, my comments focus on fiscal year 2022. During fiscal year 2022, I apologize, I'm having you flip everywhere, but we'll start with fiscal year 2022. Enforcement received a total of 18 orthotists and prosthetists complaints from 3 sources: consumers, departmental employees, and our criminal history team. I think it helps to provide a little background on our criminal history team. This team files complaints that request an investigation into the criminal history of an individual who has either applied for a new license or applied to renew an existing license. If that investigation discovers evidence about that applicant's criminal convictions that makes them unfit for licensure, then the department can deny their application and refuse to issue a license, or if the license already exists, to revoke it. The criminal history team is the source of 13 of the 18 complaints. The other 5 fiscal year 2022 complaints all alleged violations of the rules and laws governing this program. Consumers filed 2 of these complaints, and the department employees filed the other 3. Out of the 18 fiscal year 2022 complaints, 6 were opened up as cases and investigated. If you're curious how we nonetheless managed to close 10 cases, there were 5 fiscal year 2021 cases still open at the start of fiscal year 2022. So in sum, there were 11 cases open in fiscal year 2022, and by the close of 2022, we had closed 10 with one still unresolved. Depending on where you start, that's a caseload reduction of either 90% or of 160, give or take. The average time to close these 11 cases was 127 days, 88 days less than the TDLR average. Also exceeding TDR expectations was the time to resolution statistic and the percentage of cases that led to disciplinary action. Next, on the middle of page 2 are statistics generated by case resolution. Fiscal year 2022 is straightforward. 7 were closed informally, that is, without any disciplinary action. The other 2 cases were resolved by an agreement negotiated between the respondent and the department and finalized in an agreed order. In total, the department assessed 3,500 in administrative penalties, all of which have been paid in full. Now, at the bottom of page 2 is a comparison of 2 sets of data. The first is a snapshot taken of the 5 program cases at opening and identifies all violations alleged and their frequency as they existed on the date that the case was opened. The other data set identifies the type and frequency of all violations with enough evidence to authorize the department to take disciplinary action. You'll notice a very mild decrease between what the number alleged and the number proved, but for me, the big surprise is the disciplinary actions. Most weren't based on what was alleged in complaints, but on more severe violations taken from higher penalty tiers. Typically, the more severe a violation, the better the evidence needs to be to prove it. So I suspect that the cause of this trend is the tenacity of our investigations team and their dogged pursuit of definitive evidence. Finally, at the bottom of page 4, summaries of the 2 cases in fiscal year 2022 resolved through disciplinary action. The second case against Ambu Health is a good representative of many of our cases, an allegation of unlicensed activity that's eventually resolved by agreement. Negotiated settlement is generally our priority, as agreed orders help achieve enforcement's primary goal, to help licensees achieve compliance with our rules and regulations. Here, the respondent acquired the required license in exchange for a reduced penalty, a win for both sides. The other case is slightly atypical, as it involves a standard of care issue. Standard of care issues require expert consultation, and in this case, the assistance of a prosthetics expert retained by the department. With their analysis, we were able to reach the proper conclusions about the allegation and proceeded to allege the allegation as a violation. This led again to settlement with the respondent and a resolution that, again, was a win for both sides. That concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions from the board? How many of the, I'm going blank on the word, how many of the experts, O&P experts, do you now have retained to lean on for these cases?
Thank you for bringing this up. We have one. The volume of the cases in this particular profession is not that high. So we've been able to manage with one retained expert. However, I prefer to have at least 2 on staff in case the other one is swamped or gets sick or isn't able to fulfill their duties. So this is a great opportunity for me to ask the members of the board and anyone who might be watching who is interested in retention as an expert in this program to please go ahead and contact me, and we can go ahead and start the application process as soon as possible.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
No other questions from our board? All right, then moving on, the next division is Education and Examination Division. Do we have John?
I'm here. Good morning, presiding officer and board members. My name is John Schildwachter, and I'll represent the Education Examination Division to share some of our stats with you. As you can see right off the bat, the numbers for the current fiscal year and last fiscal year for jurisprudence examinations, you can say they've stayed fairly constant for the last few months and quarters. Next slide, please. And here we are with the CE audits. Again, as you remember from our last board meeting, Mr. Strawn mentioned that we began audits in January of this year. So you can see those numbers picking back up all the way through the end of August. And that concludes my my presentation today, and I'm available if you have any other questions for me. I'll do my best to answer them.
I have one.
Okay?
Go ahead,
John?
Mark.
John, I had a licensee reach out to me the other day and ask about the human trafficking part of like renewals. And they explained to me that there are 3 of them on the website. Is there a certain one that they can pick, or can they just pick one of the 3? Could you clarify that for me?
You know, I'm gonna have to probably get back to you on that. I'm not sure I can answer that question accurately right now, but I will definitely get an answer back to you before the end of the meeting.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I also have one quick question for you, I hope. This is Catherine Mize, and that is, are we now handling the testing for new license applications appropriately, given that the written exams are now not separated from orthotics and prosthetics, but it's a combined written test? So we might have an applicant that's only applying for an orthotic license, but they're going to submit an exam that covers orthotic and prosthetic.
Again, I hate to give you the deer in headlights look, but that's beyond my capability to answer it. But I will work with my fellow comrades and staff to get you that answer today.
Okay, thank
I'm
you, John.
sorry.
Sorry about that. No, that's okay. Let me tack on what my follow-up question to that would be, and that is, I'm envisioning somebody applying for a license for orthotics. They've taken the exam that is now combined, that's given by our accrediting, national accrediting organization called ABC. And then maybe a year later they apply for prosthetics. Well, we have record of that exam that covered prosthetics as well. So I'm hoping that they don't have to resubmit, or that they can point to the fact that they've already given the results of that test, and just trying to streamline it a little bit for our applicants.
Okay.
So that's kind of the continuation of my question. Basically, how is that test being handled, and can it be referred to twice if a follow-up application for the other discipline comes a year later?
Catherine, I think this is Steve Eaker. I think it can. Didn't we talk about this about a year ago when they were starting to take the exam at the same time instead of taking it separately? And I think it was sort of the inverse of your question. It was like, could we accept a combined exam as opposed to a separate exam? Was that?
Yes, we did bring it up.
So it's like, that's
Absolutely.
no problem, but
Right. So yeah, I'm just wanting to know kind of how it's going. You should have received several applications over the last year with this combined exam.
yes.
And then it occurred to me, that do I have to, if I'm applicant, do I have to resubmit the information that quote unquote Texas already has if I'm pursuing my second license because I've completed my second residency?
Catherine, this is Leonard. I can tell you on the licensing side, we haven't seen a problem with that as of now. And we shouldn't have a problem with that as long as they're entered in the system, that both scores are there. The system should recognize that.
Okay.
And we haven't had a problem, so we should be good.
Good. Very good.
And then also to follow up with regard to the human trafficking, I can help you out, John, a little bit. There on our website, we have a human trafficking page, and there are dozens and dozens of human trafficking courses that are available free and online that any healthcare provider can take. And they're listed by like Texas Medical Association has one, or the AMA, or whoever, or different groups, the Nursing Association. But any 1.5 hour course will suffice, and there are numerous ones that are free of charge and can be taken via those links.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that.
So Mary Winston here, Ms. Mize, I just want to make sure that I think you have all of your questions answered, but I'm not quite sure. Did you want a kind of a more formalized response from E&E regarding this process, or have the assurances of these guys gotten you where you need to go?
I think I'm good.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. All right. Any other comments or questions? Next, then, we will move to the Regulatory Program Management Division. And Steve, you're up.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Steve Eaker, and I'm with Regulatory Program Management, and I'll be giving the update from our little unit. First, we'll start with some personnel updates. The Medical and Health Professions section welcomed 2 new team members. Rick Garza and Dina Wingfield started this month. They were already in RPM in another section, and now they're working with us, and they're great people, and we're happy to have them. In terms of current projects, we've worked on updates to the rules related to CME. Those changes were published and are now, well, the comment period just ended October 17th, so last week. So comment period closed, but that project is wrapping up. RPM staff are assisting the Office of Strategic Communication with web page redesign and content layout. We're also, we've begun a time tracking data project to provide some more data-driven analytics for programs as part of our implementation of TDLR sunset review as directed by them. And we're going to continue to work with a team to update the continuing education review process for programs which use an audit system like our medical professions. In terms of outreach, we attended with, we were there with Leonard, as Leonard talked about, the AOPA, the American Association of Prosthetics, Orthotics and Prosthetics Association conference in San Antonio. It was more like an international conference as opposed to a national conference. It was huge. It was amazing. And that was at the end of September of last month. Our booth was located right next to the newly fused Texas Society of Orthotics and Prosthetic Professionals table. It was a very successful conference. We got, as Leonard was saying, we got a lot of traffic. We got to help a lot of people and saw a lot of amazing demonstrations of orthotics and prosthetics in use, in action. The latest edition of our newsletter, the Health Monitor, was published in October. It featured, well, this is it. We wrote a couple articles. The article that got published in the Health Monitor related to the new rules relating to CME, but we have another article that will go out in our next Health Monitor relating to the latest things that we observed at AOPA in the field of orthotics and prosthetics and how they're helping to improve lives. And a link to that newsletter can be found in the news and updates section on the orthotics and prosthetics page. And yes, that next edition should be coming out in January of 2023, not 2022. And that's it from RPM. Any questions?
I'm not hearing any questions. I just want to say thanks to you guys and again to Leonard for attending that in San Antonio. I think it is incredibly important that people from Texas are able to find you and talk to you in person and connect. And then I especially like the fact that you all find our meetings interesting and it allows you to have a little bit more of a peek into this crazy profession that we're in and just have a little bit better understanding of what we do and how we try to do it. So I really appreciate you guys attending.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. For anytime.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no other questions from the board members? All right, moving on. We have field inspection divisions, and this is Juan Munoz.
Yeah, good morning, board members. My name is Juan Munoz. I'm a Central Region Manager with Field Inspections. I'd like to start off with personnel updates. In March, North Region Manager Ron Garricky separated from the agency to enjoy his retirement. And since then, we've also had Tisha Cantu separated August 15th of this year. And then last month, we had 2 separations, North Region Inspector Chris Berry and also Adonis DK Estelle from our East Region separated. Not listed here, but I'd also like to congratulate a new North Region manager who was selected October 15th, who was promoted from our North Region. He was our senior inspector in our North Region. who has now been promoted to North Region Manager, that fills that vacated position that's been open since March 15th. So I'd like to congratulate Lance Carolyn for that. As far as our statistics are concerned, if we look from year over year, what you'll see is we've doubled our inspection totals for this fiscal year. And obviously, most of that just came from the fact that we had a slow inspection rate last year due to COVID. On the next slide, what you'll see are our top 10 violations that we cite during our inspections. Pending any of your questions, my reporting is complete.
How many inspectors do you have now that are doing these site inspections for orthotics and prosthetics?
I think we have, I think 6 of them. Yeah, we keep one. We have one at least in each of our central and our south regions, and we have 2 in the north and 2 in our east region.
All right, and these inspections are still, they're not pre-notified. They just simply walk in and identify who they are and why they're there?
That is correct. They are unannounced. That is correct.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions from our board members? All right. Well, then moving on. Thank you very much for your report.
Yes, of course.
Executive Office, Miss Mary Winston.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry I wasn't on at the very beginning, but with this advent of the virtual meeting, we're able to have virtual doctor's appointments and all that. And so I was trying to get something in and not rush to get here, but finish that appointment. But I'm glad I made it on time because Ms. Mize, you run an efficient meeting and at 10 straight up, you're like, we're starting. So I want to start off the report because it's been a minute for us to meet, and we have done quite a bit since the last time we saw each other. And I started with our strategic plan. So we were able to this year, we started actually right after our last meeting in February, where we were able to really travel across the state in different groups. We publicized this and as much as we could and posted on our website and let folks know that we were coming out and we were asking questions. What can we do better? What do we do well? What things, events are affecting your industry? Obviously, we know COVID, but there are also so many other different things that affect different laws and changes federally that affect what we are doing. And we were able to just kind of get a treasure trove of information. We also did an online, a virtual meeting just to ask more questions to get feedback from all of the industries that we regulate, as well as any public person who just wants to come and provide us information or give us a comment. And we took all of those comments and we developed those comments that we got out into our strategic plan. And the strategic plan is dated for 2023 through its fiscal year 2027. And it's kind of our roadmap for the next 5 years. And we do submit that to let folks know where TDLR is going. But we don't take that just as something internal from us sitting in all of our offices here in Austin or wherever we happen to be in the field. We make sure we get out to the people because we want everyone to have some say so in what we have there. And that can be found on our website. It's not foremost on our website because we have, but it can be found. And our website has been updated. Thank you, Josh, so much, because it's a continual working. And sometimes we are used to going to where we are familiar with on the website, and we won't realize how someone who doesn't deal with this every day can't find it. But Josh Schroeder has been doing a fantastic job updating everything. And as always, Mr. Fickle, as the webmaster, has just been leading that charge as well. So after we kind of got out that strategic plan, we did the lead work, we did the paperwork, we did the filing on time. We then submitted our legislative appropriations requests. Okay, this request is for 24 through 25 fiscal years, and it's asking the ledge just what we need and how much money we need to do it. So we have this document is on our first page, our front page of our website. You can just go in there. It's meaty. I won't say dense, but it is meaty. But it does let you know what monies we're requesting from the legislature to move forward. It's our request. And as in a cycle, after this request, where are we heading after the holiday season? We're going into our next legislative session. So this all goes hand in hand to the next legislative session, and it lets the powers that be know that this is what TDLR is looking for. This is what we're needing to continue to operate. We've done the work. We're presenting to you the numbers and documentation, and now their job, they come here and they do a fantastic whirlwind job of trying to run this state biannually. And this is one of the tools that we provide to try to help them decide for our agency what to do. So that's going to start in January, and then the cycle will go to bill implementation. So we're never still at TDLR, and because we have these things, legislative session, bill implementation, strategic planning, legislative appropriations requests, and it's an unending cycle to keep assessing what our professions need. And we do try to ask for input when we do all of those things to get those things accomplished. And that is the update thus far. Does anyone have any questions about that before I move on to our statistics? Okay, and we'll have more updates as we move forward towards this session. We'll see how we end up. And this is again a little document that's put forth, kind of runs hand in hand in my mind with our customer service. It and our just website period, as to how effective it is, how many views we get. So for the past 6 months, about 10,000 almost, averaging a little over 50 per day. And most folks are from the computer, some from smartphone. And we still run this tally, but it looks like it's been so consistent for a while. This tablet is just not picking up. But it is a way that folks do reach us. So we do like to gather that information just to know if that's still an effective way to offer. To provide this information for us or make it accessible. The top reasons for applying is for visiting is how to apply for a practitioner's license, laws and rules, forms, facility, accreditation, and frequently asked questions. So this lets us know what's working on our webpage, what you need, and if we're effectively meeting that challenge. And that is the end of the executive report today. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. All right.
So Mary, I do have maybe a question,
Sure.
and that is that I'm going to have to first admit that I have not read the strategic plan yet, and I do apologize for that. Is there anything in that strategic plan that points directly to involvement of orthotics and prosthetics?
Currently,
Think
you
of?
are you not that I can think of, because currently you're not, I don't want to say the hot seat, but
Right.
that's the term that comes to mind. You all are in pretty good stead. We've had some changes in laws pertaining to other programs. We've combined some programs. We didn't combine them. The legislature combined them, and we've had to accommodate that kind of thing. That's been a heavy lift. We do have one of the requests for our legislative appropriations is we want to get this licensing system up. And so that may be in effect. It won't affect you out there working. It will just affect how many systems we work inside and how effective we can get to you. So nothing directly that I can think of. The only things that, we can continue the virtual meetings, but we don't always want to have to be in these little boxes if possible. But we don't want to make you travel to Austin and spend money because you get paid the big fat sum of zero to do so if we don't have to. But we do feel that sometimes we may need to meet in person just to collaborate, right? So that's something we would plan after session, but we do have the capability of continuing to meet this way to be effective and to let everybody keep working at their desks and get back to work as soon as we finish.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Personally, I would like to come back in person. So hopefully we can move in that direction.
We're going to plan a field trip because I do think we have new members, right? In most of our boards, and they've never met. So that's
Right.
something we'll plan effectively, right? So it's where we can get, and trust me, it'll be after session. So because as we move into the holidays in January, will be session. So let's look towards, maybe even summer, right? To where we'll start polling everyone to see a good time that we can maybe have someone in. And I'm probably announcing things that I haven't even talked to Mike, our executive director, about, but I'm sure he's good with it. But it's just a plan for us. But I just think it's great for us to at least, meet at least at some point during the year, even if this is our standard way of meeting, which is very effective.
All right. Well, thank you very much. So any other questions from our board members for Mary? None at this time. All righty.
Thank you.
So then that concludes all of our different staff reports. And now we'll move into a discussion and possible recommendation on the proposed amendment to the existing rules on Code 16 and Chapter 114 regarding the continuing education. And that is Mr. Leary.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, good morning, board members. Stephen Leary, Assistant General Counsel. I've recently come aboard TDLR back in June, and I've replaced Alex Phipps as the Assistant General Counsel who's assigned to this program. So I look forward to working with you all. I believe, Anna, you're going to share on the screen the proposed rule text that we're going to be talking about today. Thank you. I do see that up. So item F relates to the proposed rule amendments that were discussed at this board's meeting last February by Mr. Phipps. The amendments affect the continuing education requirements that are found in Title 16 Texas Administrative Code, Section 114.50, subsection I. The amendments, excuse me. The amendments will allow for licensees to claim 1 hour of continuing education credit for both the human trafficking training that's mandated by Health and Safety Code, Chapter 116, under House Bill 2059 that was passed by the legislature back in 2019, and also 1 hour of continuing education credit for taking the jurisprudence exam. The board voted to go ahead and publish that in the register and see if any comments came in. At the last meeting, the proposed rule was published in the Texas Register on September 16th. The public comment period ended on October 17th. No comments were received on the proposed rule. I recommend that the board vote to recommend the rule for adoption by the commission, and its next scheduled meeting is going to be on December 6th. And that would make the rule effective as early as January 1st of next year. I'm available to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from our board regarding this rule change or the wording thereof? All right. Well, I believe you were very clear, Mr. Leary, on what this will provide for us, and I think it's a good thing. So would we move to a motion to accept? Would that be the next step?
Yes, ma'am. To accept it, to recommend it for adoption by the commission. Unchanged.
All right. Do I have a motion for this to be adopted by the commission?
Randy Duncan, motion to adopt.
And do I have a second?
Second to adopt.
We have a second. And shall we do a roll call vote?
Yes, ma'am. David Arends,
Aye.
Randall Duncan,
Aye.
Mark Kirchner,
Aye.
Eric Olson. Oh, you're muted, sir.
Aye.
Thank you. And presiding officer Catherine Mize.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. All right, we're on our way to a record for the shortest ONP meeting that we have ever had in the history of my attending ONP meetings, which has been a lot of years. So I see some board members smiling. Our next agenda item is recommendations for agenda items for our next board meetings. So do we have any recommended items that you all would like to see addressed at our next meeting? Randy, Mark, no, Eric?
Nothing currently.
Well, you're brand new, Eric. You're supposed to bring up something that's highly contentious.
I'll save it for next year.
All right. So just to remind everyone, Anna, would you take us through if a topic does come up and one of our board members would like to see something put on the agenda for the next meeting, how do they go about doing that?
So you just simply email me, anna.clark@tdlr.texas.gov, and I will get with our general counsel and other staff members and we'll put it on the agenda for you.
Okay. So our next agenda item is the discussion date and time of our next board meeting. I assume that will be after session has closed.
Yes, we'll probably have a meeting after session. I'll go ahead and just poll y'all at a later date to discuss anything that the legislature has changed for us.
Okay, so we might anticipate a meeting sometime probably July, August, or September of next year.
Yes, sometime next summer, I'm sure.
Be reasonable. Okay. Any questions on that from the board members? All right. Well, it's 10:41 according to my computer. So literally, this is a record. And barring no other comments or questions, I will adjourn this meeting. I don't
Thank
have
you
a
so
gavel
much.
thingy.
Thanks so much. Ms. Mize, efficient and excellent as always. Thanks, everyone.